the gazetted article by Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga, and that is the return to daily school attendance for primary school pupils and pupils with special educational needs. Assalamu alaikum, Abdullah. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, and thank you for having me onto this program.
My pleasure entirely. As the principal of the Roshnee Islamc School, are you delighted or concerned about this, the return to school on a regular basis, as was pre-COVID, the pre-COVID attendance, and the fact that this is going to happen right after the winter holidays?
Thank you for the question, and it's a loaded one too. I think we are delighted to have them back because you see, with the fourth industrial revolution, the human touch is missing. And the online teaching has with it many issues that marginalize the impact of actual learning. However, it has its strong points as well, but that's not the debate here. So in essence, many school principals are delighted to have the children back because we believe that by them coming back to school, we'll be able to get into real-time teaching with all the COVID protocols in place. But the challenges will be there, especially with classes where the numbers are bigger and you cannot have the social distancing as required by protocol. So schools are preparing themselves for that particular reality. Now, in special needs schools, obviously the game changes more. And I do not know how to answer for those particular principles, but I would say the following. For them as well, it will be a good thing to come back to school because it will give them the sense of what I would say the concrete reinforcement that they are successful in their learning and they can make a way into the next phase of their schooling, because you cannot be online for the entire year, That's my take on it, given the fact that we've got a fully structured schools and we've got principals and teachers who are aware of the dynamics of online teaching versus real-time teaching.
And I can't agree with you more in terms of the human touch.
Yes.
We've been told by mental health care professionals, what an impact COVID-19, the lockdowns have had on adults. So can you imagine what the impact on children? And we also know we often talk about too much computer time for children, how it impacts on them mentally, physically, and emotionally. So yes, that is, this, I should imagine, is truly a welcome break. But with it comes a whole host of risks, very especially when we talk about children with special needs. They are at a greater risk physically and mentally. I mean, their unique circumstances would indicate that they need extra attention, extra help, extra support, etc. And that does then place a huge burden on the teachers.
Yes, thank you for that. What you're saying, I cannot disagree with you. You see, the mental health of children has never been measured effectively, very much like how the psychosis of the Palestinian child has never been measured. However, what is a reality on the ground is that children need the concrete reinforcement by the human touch, by the teacher, that they are successful and can manage the next stage of learning. Because in primary school, your learning is very different compared to the learning in high school. Because in high school, you have coping mechanisms because you're largely a growing adult. Whereas in primary school, you're still a child who has to be taught the rigor of life and the discipline of routine, you see. And with online teaching, the routine is broken, the discipline is broken. You are put more within the framework of your parent, who probably is not at work now, but has a domestic or someone else in charge to make sure that you're learning online. I mean, the challenge this morning now, some parents are gone to work and the children have to be taught online. Now, in the grade 1 and grade 2 and grade 3 class, some of the parents can only do the work when they come back from work, which is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So what does the child do in the morning? So the challenge there is not only the human touch and the mental abilities and the mental capabilities of the child. It's the actual teacher who's who's supposed to be at home to ensure that the online teaching goes on. You see, these challenges come with their own problems. Now, you have the other scenario in high school where pupils who, while we have high school open to all, but obviously schools are changing the scenario given the COVID infections. So you have an entire grade 12 coming to class, but those who have got comorbidities and who are ill cannot come to school. So how do the teacher then be in two places at the same time, the real time and get onto the online class? So, as I'm speaking to you now, I'm about to get back into routine now with our online classes and to see how the children who have to come in to write the assessments, how will that impact on the actual online teaching versus the assessment time. So there will be a loss of instruction, and that mental game, children are at odds with it. They feel useless. They feel that they're missing out, and they got very few coping mechanisms. I mean, adults are going through a tremendously difficult time. Can you imagine what children are going through? And it's there for us to see,
And sadly, they can't verbalize the frustrations that they're experiencing.
Absolutely. You see, the quality of discernment is also problematic with adults because we are who we are, and we are culture. We are now in culture to a society where we read less, we know less, we're communicating less, and we the social distancing with many things, and fake news has become another headache. So there's a lot of paranoia that rides with all these decisions as well. And as principals, we need to have our head above the water, and we cannot stick it in the ground like an ostrich, you see.
Okay, Abdullah, there are a couple of issues here that I'm sure you and your team have given lots of thought to. And that would be the big thing. We know we are now in, level 2 of lockdown, which indicates obviously that we're in the third wave. Things could get worse before they get better. And of course, the schools are, they're going to be holidays very soon, the winter holidays. A lot of people are probably going to go on holiday, and we do tend to throw caution to the winds. We do become a bit careless. Are you not concerned that kids may come back to school with all sorts of infections, possibly even, come to school without even realizing that they've got COVID?
No, I agree with you. We have the very fear that you talk about, and there's nothing we can really do because, look, the president spoke last night, and as much as he's urging our people to do what is right, we have a tendency to break the rules. And look at how we have behaved in all sectors, from our masjids to our funerals. We have broken the rules, and what has happened is that people have become infected. People with comorbidities have come into contact with people who were clean, and that in effect caused so many other infections. So yes, it's a genuine worry. I cannot control that which is out of my hands, except to say that we can advise, and that's it. At the end of the day, it's the responsibility of the parent to be mature, full of discernment, and also very careful to note that you mustn't be the person to spread the virus because of an irresponsible behavior, And as much as you want to tell people to do A, people do what they want to do because they feel they've got the I would say the means, so they do as they please, and that is a worry.
Absolutely. Okay. We're looking forward to the kids getting back to school. We realize the importance for them to get back into a very structured environment. But what about, and this is really a very important part of their learning and growing as well, is the department's recent statement that contact sports in schools have been suspended with immediate effect. That would have an impact on you, well, all schools for that matter.
Yes, look, we have had the problem from January already, contact sports on, contact sports off, and we've taken decisions at the school not to have contact sports because, again, you don't know what the comorbidities are. You don't know who the infected pupils are. You don't know what are the possibilities of infection given the audience that comes or the players themselves. So we've stayed away from it. And it has challenged the pupils tremendously because they are inactive. And because of the inactivity, obviously the brain is overloaded with blue screen addiction. So you have those problems. And you see, that is how we need to navigate this entire COVID thing, because it's now uncharted water again. But this time we have got more data-driven logistics as compared to last year, when we had very little data-driven logistics. You see, and with the vaccinations coming on, we feel that we have a chance to get into the sporting prowess of our children. But it's going to be difficult, because you don't want to put children at risk. Because the teacher himself or herself can be COVID positive. You don't know, and with the new strain, it's also very difficult to ascertain exactly what your condition is, So it's a very challenging time to be a principal. It's very challenging to be at the head, because you have to, at the helm at least, because you have to consider all variants. And the most difficult thing is to be, to be called upon to give a definitive statement on something, which is very difficult.
My final question to you, Abdullah, is there are school closure rumors that are doing the rounds, which the Department of Education has said they are fake. I think the statement suggests that the schools are going to be closing and reopening, I think, within a very short period of time. Have you come across that, and how have you dispelled those rumors amongst your campus?
Well, look, those rumors do make their way, the fake news makes its way, but we always hold on to an official gazette, like what Mrs. Angie Motshekga has done, and upon that only will you make decisions, because we cannot make decisions otherwise. Independent schools have made independent decisions to close school and go online, but keep the FET phase, which is the grade 10 to 12, to come on live every day, and also perhaps go online. So we will wait for the decision to come from the minister himself, herself, whether it's live on television or via a gazette. So we actually inform the parents that do not go on that which is not official, and your official is the Ministry of Education and not the hearsay of people. And that, alhamdulillah, has been dispensed to all and sundry. So we're confident that fake news won't drive the process.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. I mean, good luck with the reopening full time of the school. And I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to go well for not only your school, but right across the country.
Yeah, I thank you. No, I thank you for your call and your confidence. And I make dua that all the principals of all schools, seize the day and do what is best for humanity at large. Thank you so much for a wonderful interview.
Ameen thumma ameen.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Add a sprinkling of sparkles to your magical parties and special occasions with colorful party supplies and awesome helium balloons. Celebrate Ramadan and Eid in style with